So folks, you may remember in my first video about the AU Spec Supra, when I first got this car, I was pretty disappointed with how quiet it was. Now, I did say in a later video that after driving it for a month or so, the sound got a bit better, a little bit louder, the crackles were a little bit more pronounced. One thing though is I ended up having a chat to a guy in America saying that, you know, why would you bother with retaining the Valvetronic system, which if you have a look under here, you can see that little guy there, that's the valve that opens and closes, and it's a little flap inside there that usually in a car will change the tone of the exhaust. Now, what I had noticed is in this, no matter whether or not you're in sports mode or in normal mode, that flap was always open. And in fact, that flap only opened, the flap was only closed for the first 15-20 seconds of the car during cold start to try and tone it down. After that, the flap was open all the time. Put it in sports mode, so it's in normal mode now. Sports on. Sports on. Sports on. Sports off. This is sports off. Sports off. In the American cars though, the flap opens only in sports mode or above when you're flat to the floor, apparently, like at full acceleration. So it goes to show that there are some other significant differences between the Australian model and the American model. These were things that when we did the part number checks, the exhaust system's supposed to be the exact same thing, but the ECU is obviously tuned totally differently to activate the exhaust flap under different circumstances. But that also suggests that the exhaust, even though if the part numbers are the same, there must be something different with the muffler, because our cars in Australia are still quiet as hell, even when the flap's open. And the fact that the flap is open all the time for us should mean that it's loud all the time. So there you go figure. I do not know what they've done. I don't know why they've done it. Maybe there's some sort of differences in emissions laws between Australia and America. I do know that in Europe they've got the gasoline particulate filters, I believe. So we don't have those in Australia. So it's actually, you know, a little bit strange to me that they've made these changes. And I don't see what's the damn point of this sports button. All we get is we get a slightly different tune with the sports button. It makes the throttle response a little bit different, and it adds the crackles to the tune. It doesn't make the exhaust any louder or quieter. It just adds those crackles. So there you go. You can I was wrong by when I was telling people why would you bother with the valve, but there you have it. That's now we've sort of learned it, but because Australia was such a small market for Supras, it took a little while to figure this out until I ended up having this discussion with someone on Facebook, and they sent me their videos of the sports button actually making a difference in the tone, whether it was idling or driving, and it opens and closes the flaps. You can even hear the flap opening and closing whenever he presses the sports button. There you go.